to start, can you tell me your life story in as much detail as possible in 4 minutes?
Sure. I am Scot. I am a Colorado-born American living in Canada since 2012. I am a Vancouver-based entrepreneur. I am a father of two girls, 7 and 9. Girl dad's the best. Just the best. I don't know what people do with boys, but the girls are the best. Graduated from high school and then have been sort of on a world tour ever since that time. I met my roommate, was now my business partner over 4 businesses. Divorced a couple years ago after 17 years of marriage. Major life-changing event. Started a nonprofit called Brands for Better. Brings people together in Vancouver who want to make Vancouver better for the people on the planet. And then started Inbox Booths, which is now where we started.
Now I'm going to start by saying hi.
Well, hello.
Well, we're not strangers like other episodes that we have. I'd say we kind of have met a couple times. We're acquaintances, right?
Yeah. We're on the same team.
Well, we are on the same team. Yeah. We I guess kind of work together, but it's not work. It's volunteering together.
Exactly.
I remember, Mika and I met you at a Brands for Better event that we came to. You were speaking about your life and events that happened. And something that struck me from that talk was that you were talking about intimacy circles and how people move between them. And it kind of got me thinking into the idea of what Start By Saying Hi is, which is approaching strangers or acquaintances and having them in this space to have a conversation and become friends with them, or, something near to that. So, what's your experience being like with the work that you do with Brands for Better and meeting a lot of people and making new friends? Is that something that you try to do normally?
Yeah. I think one of the biggest through lines, and what was the through line of that talk, is I feel most alive in genuine community, where people really know each other, they're vulnerable, and the truth is that relationship gets pretty messy, right? Because it's humans, but I think we're wired for community, and I really discovered that my passion and where I felt most alive in life was in bringing a team of people together, executing on a big, seemingly impossible goal, and the sort of relationships that get formed on that leadership team, the friendships, the challenges, the ups and downs, but really the melding together of gifts. And that happened for me in high school. It was in leading this team and being part of this community. And after that experience, my entire life, there's always been this thread of trying to figure out, how do I live in a community of people? So it's friends, and now I have kids, so it's families as well. So inevitably, I'm always sort of gathering people with a certain mission, and really just always I'm sort of most passionate about people getting beyond the surface level of conversation and into the deeper stuff in our guts.
I have noticed that.
Flow of Taco Night is we cook, as you've seen. Yeah. Then we all grab our food buffet style. We carry it into the living room, and then at dinner time I pose a question as we all eat. Yeah. A double decker is a hard shell a little bit of refried beans, or not, or sour cream.
Okay.
And then you put a soft shell around it. Tortilla, if you will.
Tortilla, if you will. Partial tacos.
Yeah.
When was the last time you had them? Canadians never do it.
Yeah.
Never.
Cute. Wow.
Canadians never do it. It's like a sacrilege to me to have partial tacos.
Oh, I should have gotten actual corn tortillas too.
Ooh, that would have been.
Like that.
Yeah, but it's okay. I find it particularly interesting, at least for me, coming from Mexico and it being a very open culture in a way in which it's easier, I would say, to jump into what here might be labeled as, oh, it's too personal to share with somebody else. I feel like maybe in the US and in Canada, people are a little bit more keeping their personal stuff to themselves, and they have this sort of public persona kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think it's people, right? I think we all have different personalities, and a lot of times some are just going to be more risk adverse. Some are going to be willing to kind of put it out there. We got oversharers and undersharers, right? And that's sort of the blend. But in facilitation or just bringing a specific question, it can change the entire experience from being like just like a humdrum normal experience into like, oh wow, we really connected there. And that's unusual. The whole power of the exercise is, one, I think everybody gets a chance to speak and is given time. And that is unique, even where if you go out to dinner with friends, right? Usually you're having like very dispersed conversation and like these two people will be talking and these two people will be talking, and being able to like center the group where everybody gets
very
time
democratic,
to share, right? Is that in itself is sort of, I have serious FOMO, right? So it makes me feel like I get to hear from everybody, and at least we have this bit of connection instead of just being like, oh, we were all together, but we weren't together. And it so brings people together. So this year I started in January this social experiment where I ask the same question in whatever group I'm in, whether it be at work or in a networking setting or just dinner with friends. So, like last night I had an impromptu dinner with friends and I dropped the monthly question. And these questions really get beyond the surface and sometimes are a little bit more challenging. And the art of this exercise has been giving everybody a chance. Whenever you pose the question, everybody that's in that group, everybody answers the question. Yeah. And it's been such an interesting experience doing it in all of these different environments and seeing and kind of like collating the answers and seeing how different people answer it. So for example, one of my questions was, in August, what was your favorite childhood memory?
I remember that one,
And you start to see this sense of like, there's kind of two themes. There was people who had this very like out of the box, big, momentous sort of experience that really stuck out for them and was like a formative childhood experience. And then on the flip side, it was more of like the routine things that people would do. So it'd be like every Saturday I had waffles with my grandparents, and when I think about my childhood, that is a staying force that I always come back to. And so you start to see like these themes in the conversations in different groups, answering in different ways, and it's been pretty fun. But the great thing is it like drops the conversation, no matter the environment, into like a more human to human connection. We're not talking about the weather or sports. And it's not everybody's flavor. Like, I recognize that I kind of operate on that, and I am probably a little bit more forthright and not worried about sharing personal information at a certain depth.
Do you feel like there's, I guess it depends on the person, but is it something that you're aware of that not everybody's going to be opening to answering those questions, and nobody's as forthcoming as you are in breaking the small talk barrier?
I think that some of the art of asking the question, as
Yeah.
well as giving people the freedom to answer at the level of depth that they feel comfortable in. And
Yeah.
most people are intuitive enough to know, like, hey, how well I know this group. But a lot of times the pace is set by the first one or two people that share, and whether or not they kind of dive in. And even people that are a little bit more guarded will share because the environment is kind of set. It becomes a bit of a safe space. And a lot of times I'll even just say, like, hey, in answering this question, we've all gone to a level that, we probably wouldn't share with everybody. So let's really respect this space and make sure this information doesn't go anywhere.
Plastic thing.
Welcome to American Tacos.
Are you waiting for instructions?
Yes.
Okay, watch your butt.
This feels way too thick.
Okay.
Apparently it's a thing. It's like a hat.
To make them crunchy.
Feels like dog
Try.
food. Looks
Hey,
like
Siri.
dog food. Is dog food.
Set a timer on my forehead.
This is kind of crazy. If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone?
Yeah, I think it would maybe be missed. I wish I'd been more present on certain things. Kids automatically come to mind. Like, I don't want to miss
Your kids?
pieces of it. So I don't know what it would be. Maybe there's opportunities that, like, I could have been more present. Could have put my phone away.
Down?
Could have, like, taken more time and just slowed down. I think it would be I just wish I had more presence, and would probably be that, like, refocus some attention on what really matters. I don't know
Yeah.
if there's one thing I need to say in life right
No?
now.
Are you forthcoming? I feel like you are a very forthcoming person, but
And when I screw up, I'm, like, pretty quick to really feel it personally, and then try to do what I can to
fix it?
amend that situation as well. So I don't feel like I need to say a lot of sorries or anything like that or anything. But my dad is sick at the moment and like mentally ill, so he's, like, physically quite capable, but he has dementia. And I don't know, I wonder if right now I would tell myself, like, lean in harder to that relationship.
Wait, does Scott, do we pray? I can pray right now.
Can
Abba Father.
someone that has been here before officiate this?
I just eat.
Do we pray before we eat?
Can,
No, yeah.
Who wants to wear the taco shell?
You. Go.
I think so.
This is perfection. I have never been more attracted to you than right now.
Is that right?
Hot dad.
It's my Halloween costume every year. It's gotta be the most American thing ever.
How do you twerk, Scotty?
Yeah, now it's time. So,
Yeah, we
all right.
Okay.
Thank you, Lord, for this food. Amen.
Okay.
You can start. Enjoy it.
Go for it.
No, ladies first. Ladies.
I'm waiting for my
Yeah, they eat first.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
have some beans.
Food first.
What is your relationship to religion and spirituality now?
Yeah.
What was it like before?
I have always, in 7th grade or 9th grade, transitioned from junior high to high school. I feel like I'd grown up in quite a Christian home. Grandpa was a pastor. My parents, were involved in the church and not involved in the church at different times. But really, with the experience of my grandpa being a pastor, they also had a lot of skepticism. They had seen the inner workings of religion as well. And so a lot of times I feel like in some Christian cultures, you'll get this like, oh, the pastor knows all, or things need to be run through that way, or there's like a lot of authority given to that position.
I know what you mean, yeah.
And in my family, it was a little bit different. Like there was a little bit of skepticism around that. And so
Like,
I kind of had that.
Maybe he doesn't know everything and he's not
He's a human.
Yeah.
Right? When you've seen inside the family, you're like, okay. And I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
But in grade, going like from 8th grade to 9th grade, my sister and I like learned about this youth group that was happening, and we ended up going to this like Sunday night thing. And at that time, we as a family were kind of going to different churches and things like that, but weren't super involved. And then my older sister is 2 years older than me. We started going to this youth group on Sunday nights, and then the whole family followed. But at that point, I feel like I was at another one of these like real sliding glass doors sort of moments where it's like my life could go one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then I got into this small group of guys where it was a senior in high school, so grade 12. And he had a group of 9th graders. And he was like older, he was cool, he was like down to earth, he was very approachable, and he like just paid attention to us, I think. And I could have gone definitely like the party route. And instead, I feel like just in meeting Garrett Hope, like my spirituality and like the real encounter of like God was very real to me, and it was very relational. It wasn't just like part of this club. So it's through, again, relationship into like this different sort of spiritual encounter. And then it changed the trajectory of my life. So I was like a very zealous, passionate Christian high school kid, like going through. And my entire life has always had this like the north on my compass is the Christian narrative for sure. Like that's how I operate. And where it's a little bit different, I think now I'm like, a little over 40.
How is it different?
And we continue to evolve. How deep we want to go on this one? You want me to give you my spiritual philosophy?
I mean, sure, because I can kind of relate, but in maybe the opposite way, in which I grew up in a very Catholic family. My mom's family is very religious. My grandma is very religious. So I was brought up, normal Catholic girl.
Yeah.
But my dad's dad, my grandpa, was very agnostic, and he was a doctor, and he read a lot of books about philosophy, and he was really cool. And when I was around 15, like 14, 15, he would give me philosophy books to read. And that completely shattered the way I saw religion, especially organized religion. Yeah. And I kind of felt like everybody had been lying to me, and this was all made up, and what is the point of this? And I went, it was an interesting moment in my life because I was 15. I was like, the church doesn't mean anything to me anymore. And my mom died at that point.
Oh, wow.
And so I was also like, well, yeah, clearly God doesn't exist.
Where did you guys go to school?
We've known each other since high school.
Oh, wow. What city did you guys go to?
Querétaro, Mexico.
What province is that?
It's not provinces, it's states. Kind of like the U.S.
Okay.
And it's a state called Querétaro, which is a little north of Mexico City, like 2.5 hours away.
Okay. Depends on traffic.
That's right. And I think it's really cute. I was born there, then I moved to Mexico City, then I moved back. And it's like a very colonial town.
What was it like moving to Mexico City? How old were you?
I was 8.
Oh, okay. So you were like, your parents moved. You moved with them.
My parents divorced. It was very crazy. My parents divorced when I was 5. My mom had cancer at the same time. She got better. We moved to Mexico City because she got a new job. And I don't think I've ever told anybody like this much story. But we moved to Mexico City, I had to like start, like second or third grade, I don't even remember. And it was very tough at first because I came from, in Mexico, it's not like here where public schools are good and everybody, like private schools are like rare. Like
It's the opposite.
It's the opposite. So, I went from a private, like being a very preppy private school kid to having to go to a public school, and that was really tough because everybody kind of assumed stuff about me. Like Mexico is a very classist and racist country, but it's very covertly racist. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they know before
I feel like
you
it's very
came that
colorist.
Yeah.
Did they know before you came that you were coming from a private school background?
No. But then they would ask me, and they would be like, "Oh my God, so you're rich, and you're like this preppy white kid, you know?" And I was like, I mean, no, yeah, I don't know. So it was interesting, and I think it was especially hard for my brother because he was really little, like he's younger than me, and yeah, it was tough. But then it was kind of easy because I was like, school was super easy, and I got like straight A's and everything, and like school was
Straight A.
So it got easier. And then it's cool that there are a lot of places you can go. Like there's a lot of museums, a lot of theater, a lot of art, a lot of activities to do. And my mom would always take us like over the weekend to like a theater play, a musical, something.
That's really cool.
Which was really, it was really cool. Because I was always like a theater kid and a dance kid. And
Really?
Yeah. So I couldn't go to dance classes anymore, but then I could go to like watch stuff on the weekends.
And then you moved back.
And then I moved back because my mom got cancer again when I was 15, and she died within like 6 months.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I had to move back with my dad and start high school like again, like for the third time, because I started one time, then I moved, started another time, then like it was an odd timing for that, so I had to start again, and then we started high school together.
And did you guys already know each other from like childhood before? Oh,
No.
Just high school.
you met.
Finally, I know Querétaro is such a like small town in that way that like we didn't really know each other, but like we knew a lot of people that knew each other. And, like,
Oh yeah.
there's some cosmic thing, that's I don't know how it works. And it was very interesting to kind of process, I guess, first believing in an afterlife and, oh, she'll go to heaven, so it's fine. And then I'm like, I mean, will she?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
So
It was like the wrestle of the thinking and this philosophy that sort of like uncoupled the.
It was.
Yeah.
And then there's this little interesting part to it where, because my family is still very religious, there are times when my grandma would be telling me, "Oh, you never pray every morning." And I'm like, yeah, sure. But I do have, I guess, a spiritual side where I don't believe in God necessarily, but I do feel like there's something else.
Yeah.
And I like set an intention and I want things to go a certain way, and like, I don't know, manifesting it into the universe is the thing that I think has been working for me lately.
Yeah. It's just so interesting, right? How we're always evolving. And I think the point is to stay conscious of that.
Yeah.
And so for me, completing that story, very like sure of my faith, extremely like Christian. And now, it's been a lot of years and my compass still remains like Jesus is like that narrative. Even if it didn't happen, it's plenty to organize your life around like who Jesus was. And so at this stage, I think we're all spiritual beings to a certain degree. We're wired to wonder and question, and there's a part of us that is sort of like very difficult to explain. And the desire to be connected to a more like a larger cosmic being. So I think that's part of the human experience, and we all have to answer that question in some way.
I want to switch it up.
Yeah. Change it up.
And yeah. Because of all your answers and stuff, and I was thinking, I was preparing for this and, writing questions. And one of my questions was, I feel like, and this first part of this conversation has felt like that you can be a very serious and deep person. But I have
let's lighten it
seen,
up a little bit.
Yeah. I have seen you can be silly, but I feel like it doesn't show as much, I want to say.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Is there something
into
that
these spaces? Like,
I don't
where
know.
It's like right now in this. Yeah, you ask deep questions. I'm going to be super deep.
Yeah.
But then, the other part of me is like constant, like I'll just go places other people won't go in terms of humor or like very self-deprecating.
Okay.
As well. Or like, man, I have some dance moves. You know what I mean? They just come. But like enthusiasm, humor, being able to laugh at yourself is like, it's more of a show versus tell kind of thing. But like, I feel like there's two parts of me, like a really fun piece, and then sometimes people are very surprised. We're like, wow, you can be so serious.
Really?
Yeah.
I would.
Or other times
I feel like I had the opposite reaction where, to me, you're very, I don't know, not super serious, but I want to say very professional. Maybe.
Oh, that's funny. I'm gonna take that one to the bank.
Okay, so now that we are approaching the end of our conversation, we have a set of questions that we ask every guest.
Okay.
And I will ask, and you can give me like a very short answer.
Okay.
Really.
Not too short. As we see.
Yeah, it's.
How many questions you get through? 2, 3?
A lot of them actually.
Yeah,
like, kind of like
good.
some of them were not really, I guess, on the topic.
Yeah.
But I think most of them were somewhere in there. So our first question is, if your life was a color, what color would it be right now?
Hot pink.
Okay. If I have you over, like at my house or something, what can I get you?
Something with cinnamon and sugar.
Okay, like cinnamon rolls?
Oh, like cinnamon roll? Oh my gosh. Or like, have you ever had Cinnasticks from Domino's? Yeah.
I guess.
The best.
Right?
Just the best. You had them, yeah. Yeah. They're like next.
Pablo Bruce. Okay. What is the last song you were obsessed with?
I've got 2 at the moment. This is one of my monthly questions this month.
Oh,
well,
right,
it's just time for the summer. Tango Un Plan, which is a reggaeton song.
Yeah, okay.
By Ozuna. Remix version specifically. Very good. Do you know this song? Yeah.
Quinn put it on the playlist, and I think I've heard it, yeah.
So good. And the other one is Claudius by Max Manny. And it's like this techno song or electronic song that just like takes you on this like massive journey, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it's like I'm obsessed with the song.
Okay, so there's our answer then.
I do recommend it. Max Manny, Claudius.
Okay. What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Oh wow, yeah. The only one that like really comes to mind was from early on, like, was to be real, like to be genuine. That one's lasted. And then there are like some people, like there were some very practical pieces of advice where we had a problem and been like, that's a game changer. That changes the game. So like a sales coach, for example, was going like, okay, give me your pitch. Here's the pitch. He's like, awesome pitch. I have no idea what to do. He's like, take them to the, are you on a computer? Ask them. Take them through the checkout process. And literally changed our business like overnight with that one piece of like really specific advice. And maybe the last one, I know I'm long, but you can take the one. My mom was like, our family grew up with this like hyper responsibility, like personal responsibility. Like we are in charge of ourselves. Like even if it's a bad situation, you still control your own actions.
Yeah.
And that like philosophy in life, I think I'd absolutely love and live by. Like we control our emotions. We don't control them necessarily, but we have agency over them. Right? We have power.
Yeah.
Have to be controlled by them. Our situations, we can change them.
I know what you mean.
Not being a victim.
Yeah. My dad usually says, like, you don't get angry, you choose to be angry, you know, sort of. Works better in Spanish, but...
Anger can hit you, for sure. But...
yeah. All right. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I know.
When is the last time you said I love you?
Oh, yesterday? My mom.
You in one word.
Inspiration. I don't know.
All right, and give us a recommendation of anything.
Anything. Biggest hack in life that I've learned recently is if there's something you don't want to do, put it behind something you do want to do. So for me, I know that journaling, sitting quietly is like infinitely important for me, but I don't like it. Like, I just don't like it. And I recognize that, like, I need to do this. I see the power of it. It is like a necessary practice for me, but I don't like it. But you know what I do like? Netflix.
Oh,
A lot.
How does that?
A lot. So the hack is, in order to watch Netflix, I first need to journal.
I see. And
I've journaled so much. I've kind of fallen off of this. It's time to like re-engage this. I need to get back on it because we're also get super lazy. But yeah, that hack, the biggest advice for you, like, what's your kryptonite you don't want to do, but you know it's important for you? Put it with something you really do want to do. Is maybe like really routine. Something before Instagram, also probably like quite powerful.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
for having this conversation with me.
Yeah.
And yeah.
You're good?
Yeah.
Nice.
No.